So, I had planned to give you guys a detailed book versus movie video, but, other than the names and general concept of the contest, very few things match up between the book and the movie, which is odd because the author helped write the screenplay. I'm guessing that licensing issues may have gotten in the way, so they revamped everything to make the best of it. If you aren't familiar with Ready Player One, it's about a contest that a dead man set up with his will. Basically, if you obsess over this guy named James Halliday, and you fixatingly study every detail of his life, you figure out how to earn 3 keys, and you win a ton of cash and control over the Oasis, which is the online sandbox-style virtual reality that the entire world uses for escapism in the future. Anyways, while unboxing the Funko vinyl keys over on the Family channel, something connected in my head, and so today we're going to talk about the symbolism of the keys as they're presented in the movie. I have always had trouble remembering the key types because I see this and think bronze, like bronze, silver, gold, but it's not. It's copper, jade, and crystal. And that is such a weird system. It has to have some significance, right? Well, for argument's sake, yes it does. Just like the movie itself, all the keys and their clues revolve around Kira. The copper key, which is the very first key a Gunter can earn, is made of copper because that material conducts electricity. What did Kira and James Halliday lack? Well, a spark, quite frankly. While Halliday fell in love with Kira, she didn't feel the connection, and so copper is used to symbolize that. Plus, the whole thing with the impossible race, there was so much more to that than just going back in time. Halliday didn't win. He didn't get the girl because he didn't act correctly or fast enough. He was backwards. So he wanted to reward people who were backwards too. The book notes that people suspected Halliday had autism, but the movie really shows more mannerisms to drive that point home. Halliday was awkward. He didn't know how to connect with people, sometimes couldn't even listen to them properly, and that kept him from having electricity with Kira, which ultimately made him lose the race for her heart. Side note here, but I would like to clarify that in the book, Ogden Morrow and Halliday knew Kira from high school and they both liked her, but Halliday never spoke up about it, whereas in the movie, Halliday dates her first and then Morrow ends up marrying her, and that kind of makes Og look like a jerk who stole his buddy's crush. Moving on to the jade key. The way to obtain the key is on the nose. Halliday didn't take the leap to dance with or kiss the girl, and you're writing his mistake/regret. They literally tell us this. But jade is a famously complicated material to work with due to the toughness of the stone, so it's often used as a way to symbolize money and power. Using jade for a key is almost like Halliday saying, "Look what I built, look what I can do with all this money and power, but it wasn't enough to get me you, Kira." That's really sad. Jade is also associated to 5 virtues: benevolence, righteousness, wisdom, bravery, and honest/clean, probably all things that Halliday wished he were. And oddly enough, part of the Chinese character for wizard is 2 jade pieces. And if you notice, that character doesn't look too far off from the symbol on the keys, AA, Anorak's Almanac. Remember, in the book, Kira gives Halliday the nickname Anorak, and his character in the Oasis is a grand wizard that can do anything. So I struggle to believe these references aren't for Kira's sake. Last, we have the crystal key, and while looking at the Funko version of the key, I realized how much the tip of it looked like the title crystal in the movie The Dark Crystal. That immediately reminded me that Kira's name is actually Karen, and she went by Kira because she was obsessed with the Dark Crystal film. So while the final challenge was about enjoying the little things in life, not just the big goals to hurry up and rush to the end, plus the test about not shunning your friends, the key itself was Halliday's ultimate tribute to Kira, to show that he did it all for her, because of her, in memory of her, that she was always on his mind throughout his entire journey in gregarious simulation systems. And while this is all very sweet, let's please remember that this was an unrequited love. Halliday may have loved Kira, but he never found a way to express that for her to understand. Instead, he waited until he died died, and then his last tribute to the world was a testimony in every way possible to show how much he loved her. This may also be a good time to mention that Halliday, by the movie's standards, barely knew Kira when he began obsessing over her and the idea of being in love over actually having the emotion. Kira was the first girl Halliday crushed on, and just like everything else he enjoyed, Halliday fixated on Kira in an unhealthy, unrealistic way, memorizing details about the person rather than trying to understand how she felt when she was giving him a chance to date her. So let's be clear that loving the idea of love or loving the idea of another person is not the same as actually loving another person who's real with faults and flaws and an independent mind. Kira was more of a symbol for a path that Halliday never traveled rather than the one and only girl he could have ever been happy with. And Parsifal is kind of the same way. He fixates and obsesses over Artemis even though he doesn't really know anything about her in real life. And Artemis blatantly highlights this when she rejects Parsifal, saying that he doesn't really know her, he only knows what she wants him to know, only sees what she wants him to see. Just like when you meet someone and they're putting their best self out there for you to know. It takes years of living together before you know who a person really is, and Halliday clearly didn't get that far with Kira. He only knew her superficially as an object for his obsession, and I think the fact that Kira married Ogden Morrow just made that obsession worse because now she's kind of like a partner and she's around all the time. Had Halliday bothered to date anybody else, he would have probably been obsessed with the new girl, but instead Halliday fixated on Kira long after it was clear that they weren't going to work out. So James Halliday, even though he did all this, was never in love with Kira. He was just obsessed with her as if she were Who's the Boss. It might not be reality, but theories are more fun. Or sad. Well, that's all I have for now, but this video's not quite over yet. I get a lot of comments that say, do a theory on this topic, but I've already done those theories. So please consider going to my main channel page and clicking on the video tab so that way you can see everything I've done. You will probably find a lot of things you like that you never even knew that I posted. I want to let you know that I also have two other channels, Say Halo Goodbye Gaming and the Fanily Family Vlogs. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed enough to hit subscribe and share. I can use all the help I can get to let other people know that this channel exists. And if you made it this far, leave me a comment that says something like, hey, I made it to the end, and then let me know what kind of videos you want to see in the future. I can't make any promises, but the more people that request something, the more I can look into it. Okay, well, I love you. I'll see you in the next video.